YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my first episode review for Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World, the new Sentai-based anime series not officially tied into Super Sentai, but they say the word Sentai at one point. It's basically a Sentai anime, but with a twist, with the premise being a Red Ranger getting separated from his team and ending up in a fantasy world. I did a video about this a while back when we had the trailer, discussing my thoughts on it, saying I'd probably check it out, and also talking a little bit about how I think something like this could work for PR, and I have another video like that actually planned because watching this inspired me. And like I said, I planned on checking this out, but I kind of forgot about it, and then they did release some images of the other teammates and like a poster with the mecha and stuff, and I was gonna do a video on it, but it happened to come out around the time all the Go Juju stuff was coming out, as well as the Power Rangers news, and it was Christmas time, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna prioritize Power Rangers and Go Juju, and we'll do this after the first of the year. And then I forgot about it, honestly, but thanks to Fire Fury 190, I believe it is, who's a frequent commenter, so thanks for sticking around, who reminded me of this, so I was able to check it out. So I will be covering this episode. Obviously, I'm doing it right now. That was really, thank you, Catherine Obvious. But then after that, we'll just kind of see how the interest goes. If people are interested in me reviewing this week to week like I do with Rider and Sentai, I will continue to review it week to week. If not, maybe I'll do a wrap up at the end, or if there's any sort of news about it. But yeah, let's dive in. So first of all, the title for this is so long. It reminds me of how anime titles are frequently like an episode summary. It's like that office scene slash blooper where it's like, Scranton Paper Company, Dunder Mifflin, apologizes to valued client. Some companies still know how business is done. Like, that's how the title feels to me. Would Red Ranger in Another World be fine, or would they think people would be like, well, it doesn't make it clear he's an adventurer, so I'm not checking it out. 0 out of 10. This is pretty fun. I really enjoyed myself. I mean, first of all, it really does capture that Sentai feel. Obviously, Toku has a very unique aesthetic and vibe, being live action when you're watching it, but it really recreates it in animation very well. Especially the opening scene is kind of this big battle against their enemy group, and just the team dynamics, the phrases, the way they use the gadgets and the Zords. Like, they actually have Zords. I know I'm going to trigger some purists by saying Zords, but it's just a reflex, but you know, they have their own mecha. We did see the robot in the poster, but we saw the individual ones, and I really like their designs. I like the design of them all together, but I really like the individual ones for some reasons. I hope they make toys for this period. Honestly, this definitely triggered my conditioning from watching Sentai and Rider all these years, is I want the changer and I want the mecha, so I do hope they make toys and figures for this. They probably won't do figures. Maybe they'll do a figure art. I don't know, but I do want stuff from this. But I really like the designs, and just the whole opening felt like a classic Sentai episode in animated form, right down to when the music kicks in. You know, it feels like when they're getting serious in the show and a theme or an insert song kicks on. It was really cool, and I really dig the suits. They're pretty unique, and I feel that they actually are kind of in line with what Sentai's been doing sort of recently, with designs that look Ranger-like but are a little bit different. I think I'm a basic bench on this, and Red's still my favorite, but I do quite like green as well. But basically, after this final battle, Red like sacrifices himself, and he winds up trapped in this mystical, magical world where he meets this mage girl, who she's like from a descendancy of like magic protectors. They have this staff that like regulates and protects magic, but a villain got their hands on it, and she's trying to sort of remedy that and study this like magical substance that she's looking for. Not the substance, you know, that'd be a whole different show. And she winds up getting together with him. I mean, not like that, but who knows in the future, but you know what I mean. But getting together with him and him helping her research it, and then eventually at the end, she wants to be adventuring with him. And this is a really interesting dynamic. Like, obviously, you know, Sentai has had all kinds of different themes, so the idea of a mystical theme with a Sentai isn't that weird, but the idea of basically having a core Sentai character in a mystical world I think is a really fun premise. And even within this episode, I think it was a lot of fun just seeing that mashup there, and especially like they use it to sort of make fun and poke fun at some of the tropes of Sentai, like the roll call. Like, that's one of those things, I'm so used to it, but when I think about it too hard, I'm like, that really is just the dumbest. It's like the dorkiest thing possible, but the funniest part about it is like the explosion. Like, she comments on the explosion after he transforms and poses several times, with the best one being when he's saving her from a threat and she's standing behind him, and then she almost gets hurt from the explosion. I just thought that was a lot of fun, kind of poking at those tropes and quirks of Sentai and kind of commenting on it. And also, he's got like a lot of cool like Sentai-like gadgets with his changer, which it looks like the Atmon Digivice strapped to his wrist, and like the little gimmick item, they look like breath strips or something, I don't know, but he uses like a weapon, and he's got like a weird transporty thing that are like these spinning things that help him fly around, and he can summon the mecha for some reason. I don't know how that works since he's in a different world, and he can also summon everyone else's mecha, which is kind of crazy because him and the girl are in it at the end, and they kind of go for the idea that the mecha is better powered the stronger the connection between the characters is. It kind of reminded me, delivered in a more cheesy way, But it reminded me of the way they did the 2017 Power Rangers movie. I don't think they brought it to the mecha, but I liked the idea in that movie of the friendship dynamic was about them having a synergy and a connection which allowed them to work together in unison. I thought that was such a cool way to have the friendship thing, but it didn't seem so corny. And then just some of the dialogue in this about connections and bonds with that just reminded me of like how corny Sentai can be and how Sentai fans kind of ignore that, and it reminded me of this funny tweet I saw that was about dubbed anime and said people hate dubs because when you hear the dialogue translated you realize how corny it is. I'm like, that's so true, because people think it's badass just because it's in Japanese it sounds cool, which is funny. But anyway, him and her are trying to pilot it with just the two of them. I get a feeling that by the end of the series or later in the series we'll have like maybe a little team, I don't know if they'll transform, but a team of like mystical people he meets in this world that might pilot it together. But I was surprised he could bring the full-on mecha there. The other funny like classic Sentai cheesy theme ties into the villains that they fight in their world, where the villain's motivation is literally to sever bonds between people, and then it's this Sentai's mission to keep those bonds going. It was like the most Sentai that ever Sentai'd in terms of that dynamic, because it was like such Sentai cliches, but it was so classic. But I really did enjoy this quite a bit. Like, it was cool to see the beginning scenes and some of the aspects that was almost like watching an animated Sentai, but I think the premise is unique, so we're not just watching a Sentai series but animated, like him being in this world trying to get back there. I'm gonna presume eventually we'll meet his other team members more and see them maybe try to find him, maybe some of them will end up in the world. There's just so much potential. I know they did a manga, so I probably could read or look to get spoilers, but regardless, I'm really enjoying this. And honestly, I wouldn't mind watching a full, almost quote-unquote traditional Sentai series from what we saw in the first couple scenes, but I really like the setup here. Like I said, I'm going to keep watching it. If you guys are interested in this and this video does well enough, I will cover it week to week and keep you guys updated on it, but let me know if you'd like to see more from this. What did you think of this? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for all my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.